Work out total area first, and then you can work out what the windows are. 43.28 meters squared. You charge £200 a day. Profit margin on top of that, and all of that needs pricing. Right then, so I'm going to discuss this drone here, which is a double story extension. So the previous video which I did do on YouTube for reading drones, yes, I could have probably put a little bit more information into it. So here's a drone which is a bit more clear to understand going off the previous video. How we're going to read this, yes, we do need a scale ruler, but we'll have measurements already on this drone. Like I said in the previous video, it's a scale of 1 to 50. You'll find that in the bottom there. There is other information there, but to protect our customers' details, I've just covered that over there. So it's a scale 1 to 50. So we get that on our scale ruler there, 1 to 50. So each of these lines here is 1 meter, 2 meters, 3 meters. You've got a big line through the middle there, that is 500. And then you've got smaller lines. So this one is 100, 200, 300. And in between them, you've got 50 mils, 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, and so on. So that's how we use this ruler, scale 1 to 50. So we don't need to use it on here because we already have the measurements on, but I will show how to use it. So let's just say we're going to take this little return here. It's 450 on the drone. So if we put our scale rule down, just going to grab a pencil for this. So we put our scale rule down here. What we want to do is line up our 0 with the end. Well, we know that this is 500, okay? There is, take 50 off, so we've got 450, so that is right. And we'll count that again, so just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and a smaller line, which is 50, 450. So that's how we will do that. And again, let's just try that on the side here. We've got measurement here, which goes from there to there. So this line here is the existing house. This is the extension. I'll go into that later. So we know that this is 4 meters. So we can just line up existing house, end of the proposed extension, count along 1, 2, 3, 4. And there it is, bang on 4 meters. So it's right with there. But we don't need this because this drone has all of the sizes on. Most drones do have a size on now anyway. I have marked something up here actually. This is internal here, so on a sheet of paper here, how I'm going to work this out and how I've realised that I need to measure this. When you're going to measure this up, you want to measure the full length of the extension that you're going to be building to find the total linear length of the building. Alright, so we're going to add up all of these numbers here to find out what this total length is. But we can see inside we've got this blockwork there and this blockwork there, which doesn't have any sizes on. So what I did, got the scale ruler, scale 1 to 50. I just put that down on the end there so that this corner comes through to there. We count along 500. So that's, just wrote on pencil there, and 500, that is what that size is. So now I know I need to, but you've got another one there, so now I know I need to allow 1 meter by the height of this wall to work out how many blocks is in there. So we know that it's going to be 2.1 to the lintel height to span across this door there, and then we're going to have coarser blocks over the top. So what we're going to do now is we'll start writing this down on a sheet of paper. I've already started this and I realised that I should be recording it. So what we're going to do here then, we're going to measure our length all the way around. What you can do is calculate all of these numbers here, or you can just use these provided longer measurements. So these smaller ones here anyway are 1257. This is just a return, a bit brickwork here. You've got a window which is 1290, and then a brickwork up to the corner. Can't see what that says. 1153. It returns around 1228. Got a window 1852. And then a little nib on the corner before it returns out for this porch at 450. And you'll realise there's no measurement on this side here, but if you go to the other side, the majority of the time, if it's not on that side, it will be on that side. So you've got there 1500. So we've got 1500 return, and again, this overall length is split up into 450 pillars, 440 pillars, sorry, and a 1670 door opening, and you can see that is the door there, and we've got two windows either side, I'm going to guess that they are full height windows from damp up to the lintel height. Now we can check that on an elevation drawing, which I can show you in a second. You can continue adding all of the other side up, just like we've discussed there, or we'll just find out the total area, and then you can take out the windows, because you know what the window sizes are, okay, and the door openings. So if we work out the total area first, and then you can work out what the windows are, and then take that off your overall measure. If you do it that way. If you don't do it that way, I assume if you just measure solid brickwork, you know your solid brickwork is going to include your wall ties, your insulation, your damp courses and things like that in the price if you're just doing a solid measure. Sometimes we do that, sometimes we don't. We will take windows out. Obviously, if it's a massive bifold door, for example, you wouldn't just price that brickwork through, because that would be an expensive, that would just be too expensive. So the way that I've done it here anyway, right, we've got 4 meters from the house to the corner, so I've marked down 4 meters. We've got up here from that corner, there's a line up to that porch corner, 35 30, so I've got that marked. Now we've got this return that we need, so we'll go on the other side. We know that that's 1500, we've just said that. Across the front, total measurement here is 2550, so we'll write that down, 2550, and again we've got a 1500, and this measure is 3530, so 3530, and then we want to return it back to the house at 4 meters. So what we do now to get our total length, just add all of these up. I've already done this, and it is 20 meters, 610 millimeters all the way around. That is our total external length, excluding these 500 nibs on the inside there. So now what we would do from here is pull up a section drawing. I'll get that right now. And in this section drawing, it's not marked on this drawing, so we can't take a measure from it. But what you would have, okay, is a height from your floor height to your ceiling height, right? But we know as standard, so you can do this just by going off experience. All right, you know that from DPC to the lintel height is 2.1. You're going to have one course of blocks over the lintel, then you're going to have your joist lift. That's our joist lift there. So we can say that this here is 2.1, that there is 225 for one course of blocks. The joist is going to sit on that course of blocks there. You're going to have one course of blocks as the beam fill, which is going to make up. So if we just draw an imaginary line there, right, we're going to make up this here, which is 450 mil, and that is going to give us finished floor level on the first floor. So we know the next height is 2.1 for our lintel height. There's no windows shown on this up here, but we know that, you know, window height is going to be around there, and we can pull up another drawing to confirm that. Yeah, so we know anyway that's going to be 2.1 from finished floor level on the first floor to the lintel height. We're going to have one course of blocks over the lintel, course of blocks, course of briquettes, the wall plate, and then the roof will sit on there. Because there are no sizes on here, in our quote we will mention there's no size on the section drawn, so we don't know our heights. So we would then just make sure that it's in writing that our quotation is for 2.1 lintel heights, and that would keep our quote safe from having to do work which we couldn't price because the drawings weren't right. What we're going to do now, so this is all above DPC as well, so I'm not working out what we need in the ground. For one, you don't really know what the ground's going to be like, so you can either just give give the client an estimate or a price per 1,000 bricks, per square meter of block work, lintels, building pipes in and what have you, if need be. So you can do that for the substructure, or just give an estimate based on and state in your paperwork, for an example, 2 course of blocks, six course of bricks, for an example, and that's anything more is chargeable. So what we're going to do, this is above ground, okay, above DPC, sorry. So we know now our total length here is 2610, all right, 20.61 meters long, okay. Now we want to find out the area of that building. I'm just going to pull up this elevation drawing here. So we want to find out the area of that. So what we are measuring up here is everything below this scale rule down to the bottom of the door, which is DPC. So we're measuring up all of this area here, including the windows and the doors, all of this area, the porch area, the other side, and the other side of the porch here. So that's what we're going to measure up here. So we're going to find that out by total length times total height, which we know is 2.1 meters in height. So we'll now take that onto the calculator, find out what this answer is. So we're going to do on the calculator 20.61 times 2.1 meters in height equals 43.281 meters squared. Okay, so now we know our square meterage for the first floor, right? So we'll make a note of that here. For the ground floor, we've got 43.281 square meters. Just going to highlight that because that's an important area to look back at. We're finished with the ground floor because we've got our measurement, our square meter for all of this area. Obviously we haven't taken out the windows. What we'll do, just for argument's sake, I will just show you how to deduct that. So we've got 1810 for a window, so it's going to be 1.81 meters in length for that window. Now this is where you need an elevation drawing. So we are going to be looking at this elevation. Which side is that going to be? Right, and that is going to be this window here that we're looking at, okay. So what you would do is a scale 1 to 100, it says. Now I'm sure I've tried this earlier on and it didn't work. I'm just going to try it on the door because we know we've got 2.1. Let's see. So scale 1 to 100 to the top of the door, which is lintel height, to DPC is 2.1. So that is correct actually. So we're looking at this window. So if you're not too sure if the scale's right, you can confirm by measuring off something else, okay. So you've got that window is the one which we are trying to scale the height of, okay. So this window is that window on our elevation drawing. So we know we've got 1810, the length of that window. So let's see if on our scale 1 to 100 on the elevation drawing measures 1810, okay. So what we want to do, set the 0 on the side. We've got 1 meter, there's 5, so 1.5678. So I have got 1.8 there, so we can confirm that window is to scale because we know this is to scale. 1.8 meters, 1.8 meters. So what we'll do now, we'll take our measurement. So we want to go to the top of the window, which is lintel height. So what we've got here is 1 meter 500, 1500 window. So what we're going to do now, we know that the window is 1810 in length. So we're going to times that by the height, which is 1.5 meters in height. Okay, we'll do the maths on that. So just pull up this calculator. 1.81 square meter meters long times by 1.5 meters in height equals 2.715 meters squared. We know this window now 2.7 square meters. So we've got our total square meterage, okay. So what we can do now, we know that this is 2.7 meters. We've got a window exactly the same over the other side. right? So we can just times that by 2, which equals 5.43 square meters. And we've got another two windows on the front, which are the same sort of length. Pull up the front here. So we are looking at these two. We're looking at these windows here, which are these windows on the floor plan. So we'll just measure them there. We've got 1 point, top of the lintel to the bottom of the sill is 1500. So now these two windows are 1500 as well. So what we can do, they're roughly the same size, like 30 mil bigger. So I'm just going to times that again by 2. So it's 5.43 times by 2 equals 10.86 meters squared. So now we've just got this window, this window, this window, and this window. We've got them measured. Two small windows here, which is 609. So we're going to write 0.69 in length times by. We need to find out what that is. We know we can scale off the drawing again. So we know it's this window. This is the porch. We'll scale 1 to 100, top of the window. So line up 0 with the top of the window. Bottom of the window, we've got 1.2. You can't really see that there, but that says 1.2. So we know we've got 2 of these windows. If we go 0.69 times by 1.2 equals 0.828 square meters. Okay, now we've got 2 of them windows. Let's times that by 2 equals 1.656 meters squared. These are square meters we've just measured up there. We've got a opening on the front which is 1670. Right, now this is in the door, so we know that is going to be 2.1. So what we do again, we'll see if you can guess this. If you've got it right already, put it in the comments. You've already got it. We're going to do 1.67 meters in length times 2.1 meters in height equals 3.507 meters squared, and that is the door opening. These are the measurements we want to take away. What we'll do now, we'll just disregard that because we've times it by 2. So we've got these numbers which we are going to add up. We've got 10.86 meters squared. We've got 1.65. I'm not going to put the end number on. And we've got 3.50 meters squared. So we add these numbers up now. 10.86 plus 1.65 plus 3.50 equals 16.01 meters squared. So we know now total openings. Total open size is 16.01 meter squared. This is the number that we're going to take off. So let's just write that on here. So if you are going to take off your windows out of your measure, right, you're going to do 43.28 meters squared, because that is the measure we took from all the way around. What we're going to do now, 43.28, take away our openings that we've just measured, which were 16.01 square meters, right? So the total meterage minus 16.01 meters squared equals 27.27 meters squared. So that is the total build area of this, which we've measured out. The rest is quite simple from there. So what we're going to say, we'll just round this up, okay, just to make it easy. We're going to say 28 square meters. So 28 meters squared. Right, how many bricks do we need in this? We know that there is 60 bricks per meter squared. Okay, so how many bricks do we need in here? We've got 28 square meters times 60 bricks to a meter equals 1,680 bricks. You want to allow 5% for any breakages or waste. Okay, so that's how many bricks we have measured. You want to add 5% for waste. And now we're not intentionally going to go and waste 5% of those bricks, which is 84 quantity of 84 extra bricks. Okay, you're not going to intentionally waste them, but you know, you might get some broken ones in the pack of bricks that you've got delivered or whatever, do you know what I mean? So that brings our total bricks to 1,764 bricks. Block work. Okay, so blocks, there is 10 blocks to 1 square meter. Okay, we know that this is 280, but bring our calculator, 28 square meters times 10 blocks to a square meter is 280. Okay, so we're 280 4-inch block. Again, you want to add 5%, add 5%, which is additional 14 blocks. Okay, which is going to bring your total blocks to 294 blocks, and that's including your wastage. Okay, and that's how we're going to work out the rest of this drawing. I won't go over the rest of the drawing. You know, it'll take a long time, but feel free if you would like me to do another video discussing a full set of drawings, put it in the comments and we'll see if we can make it happen. But what we are going to do, we've got this, which is the upstairs. Okay, so you can see on this proposed elevation here, everything below there is ground floor. So this here is the porch that we're seeing on there. Okay, we know that it drops off, so that's where it drops off here. If we put that over there, you'll not be able to see on the camera, but that is the porch on there. Okay, so it's pretty straight. It's a pretty straightforward build, to be honest, but we're just going to use the exact same method that we've just used to work out the first floor. Of course, there is other things which you should take into consideration. You know, across the lintel here, it looks like we've got a bit stone. This is called a specification. There's nothing in the spec there which says stonework above any lintels. It hasn't been mentioned in our site meeting, so what you will do is you'll not quote for it because it hasn't been mentioned, but you will see it in your paperwork. You have seen it on the drawing, you're aware that it hasn't been spoken about, it's not in your spec, and there's no detail drawn for it, so your price does not include the likes of stone lintels. And it looks like, you know, there is some sort of stonework across here and across this window there. Upstairs doesn't look like it. We do have a couple of corbels on the porch peak, so we will be pricing them in, and a couple of corbels on the top of the building as well. So you've got to bear in mind things like that when you're pricing work. Make sure not to miss them off. And I think that's about it really for this drawing. You know, there is a lot of other information on here which is totally irrelevant to us because we're just subcontracting to a builder which we work with, and we build from the concrete found up to damp, and then they put the floor in, and then we'll come back and continue the build up from there. So anything else in this drawing is irrelevant to us. You know, we've got steel beams here, that's irrelevant to us. They're going to put any steel beams in, any pad stones that they need, any knock throughs, drainage we've got here, all sorts of stuff like that. We don't need to know that. We just price just the brickwork. So another good point to make for our quantities here, we've worked out how many bricks we need, how many blocks we need. You're going to need wall ties. So wall ties, we've got 5 ties per meter squared. Okay, so but we already know our square meterage, okay, which is 28. So we'll just put up on the calculator, 28 times 5 wall ties per square meter, okay, is 140 ties. So we need 140 cavity wall ties. Okay, 28 square meters, obviously you're just going to put down 28 meters squared of cavity insulation. So bricks, your blocks, your wall ties, your cavity insulation, you need DPC. And take a look at our total length. We remember our total length around the building was 20.61 square meters long. So linear meters. A linear meter is just that. Okay, a meter square, okay, is a square, yeah, which is 1 meter there by 1 meter there. Yep, this line is 1 meter, that line is 1 meter, and that area within that square is 1 square meter. Back to it, we were at 20.61 linear meters of DPC. Okay, so you're going to want external DPC, you're going to want internal DPC. So just for ease, we're going to say 21 meters, so we want 42 linear meters. So ml is meters linear, m2 is meters squared. Okay, anytime you see a 2 above a number, it might not have the m, it might just have 28 2, right? So if it's a small 2 above, you know that it's 28 square meters. You've also, so you can, let's just say for instance 30 with a 3, that's totally irrelevant to working out what we are working out here, but a 3 is volume, so that's cubic meters, right, which is how much volume is inside of a cube, right? But that's for another video. It's the same sort of method, you know, it's the length of the cube times the width of the cube times the depth of the cube, and that is going to give you the volume. Okay, so we know anyway that we want 2 lots of DPC at 21 meters. Okay, so we want 42 meters of DPC. We've got our cavity insulation, we've got our wall ties, we've got our bricks, we've got our blocks. You're going to want some mortar. So what we are going to do, let's see, we've got 1680 bricks. Okay, we're going to use ready mix mortar. So let's get on the calculator. 1680 bricks, divide that by the quantity that the tub holds. Okay, we know that a tub holds enough mortar to lay 300 bricks, so we're going to do the maths. 1680 divided by 300, which gives us the maths of 5.6 tubs, so we'd round that up to 6 tubs. 280 blocks, let's just say 1 tub of muck. Okay, because we're going to have extra muck left over from the brickwork. Okay, and then you still are going to add a percentage on for waste for the combo. You know, it might rain, you don't know what's going to happen, you might end up wasting some. Okay, it might come and it might go off really quick. So we want 7 tubs of muck there. Okay, so we want 7 tubs. Again, we're going to want to plus some wastage in there. Like we'll waste a little bit more, so let's say 7 tubs of mortar plus 10% for waste, right? 0.7 of a tub, right? That's going to bring us to 7.7, right? We need to round that up, so plus 10% for waste. I know that sounds like a lot, but you've got to cover your back when you're pricing. So 10% for waste is going to bring that to 7.7, right? You can't get 0.7 of a tub, so you've got to get 8. So you round that number up to 8. So we're going to change that 7 to an 8. And that is about it, right? You just want bricks and muck. You want more, you want bricks, blocks. You want muck to lay it with. You want your wall ties, cavity insulation, DPC on the bottom. You're going to want some DPCs across the window openings. So what you would do there again, you already know what your windows are, okay, but you're going to have a cavity tray above here. Bring up this elevation drawing. Okay, you need a cavity tray across this window, across that window, across the door, because you've got this peak in the porch, cavity lintel in this peak, cavity tray, you know, everywhere on here needs a cavity tray. So that is a lot of work involved in putting cavity trays in. All right, so what you are going to have to do now is measure each window. So the same as how we got this, we're just going to add up each length on the windows. Okay, I'm not going to do that in this video, but that's what you would do. You would find out your total length. So you would find out a linear length for your windows, and then whatever you feel is a good enough price, you know, or whatever the average price is for placing a cavity tray. Whip holes every 450, turned up on the ends, whip holes in at the ends. It's a lot of work involved in it, so you've got to price it, you know, and there will be a lot of DPC going in there for the cavity trays, so you've got to allow for cavity trays. We want whip holes, yeah, and all of that needs pricing. You're just working out your quantities, so you can say, right, one person may lay 500 bricks a day. Okay, so it's going to take this guy 3.5 days to do 60 and 80 bricks. Okay, so he does 140 blocks a day. He's going to spend 2 days on the blocks. Okay, so you're just working out how long this is going to take so that you can work out how much you're going to charge. Say if you charge £200 a day and you're going to take 2 days on the block work, you know that you're going to put 400 quid down for your block work. But as a business, you don't want to be making just 400 quid. You know, you want profit margin on top of that, whether that's 20%, 10%, whatever your profit margin is, you need to be making a profit. It's not greedy. It's not asking more for more than you're worth. You know, your business at the end of the day, you need to make a profit. So I think that I have covered everything that I need to regarding this drawing. Okay, so feel free to take a screenshot of the workings out that we've just done, and if they help you, that's great. If they don't and you need to ask a few more questions, fire away. I'm always happy to discuss. Obviously, if I've missed anything out of that, drop it in the comments, let me know you've missed something. Anyway, that is the video. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have enjoyed the video, you've got value from it, maybe you've learned something, please hit like button, subscribe to our page and hit the notification bell so you do get notifications for anything that we do post in the future. Drop us a comment, follow us on Instagram. We post there quite a lot. Right, I'll see you in the next one.